It was important to me to be on by exactly 4 o'clock. All right, my speakers are working on my head. I should say my microphone. God bless, God bless, God bless. Let us work. Happy Friday. Warning. You are entering a non-linear system reboot. Yeah. This message may fracture your current identity center. You may experience guilt over prioritizing productivity and under prioritizing your spirit. Sudden fatigue from skipping soul work. And a deep ache for alignment you didn't even know what was missing. But don't panic. You are not falling apart. Not all the way. You're just fractured. Welcome to Raw for Epoch 2, day 108. Self, spirit, system. It is time to move in all three dimensions daily. Let me tell you what you are not. You are not tired. You're fractured. Your spirit doesn't trust your body. Your body doesn't trust your mind. And your system is running on betrayal fatigue. Damn. It's early to be hit with that, right? Here's our concept overview for today. Self, spirit, system, Trinity. You weren't designed to run on self-control alone, or spiritual hype, or systemized routines. You are trinitized by design. And when one of the three gets ignored, your entire operating system lags. The Trinity. It isn't just a checklist, it's a trust contract. Each dimension is its own executor, but they only build power when they move in formation, like Voltron. So here's what we're breaking down today. Your identity is a daily trinity. Self, mind and body. Spirit, God and faith. System, structure, output. Most people live in a loop, stuck in one or maybe even two dimensions. Ignoring any part of the Trinity creates friction, fatigue, or stagnation. Flow is not a vibe, it's the byproduct of Trinity consequence. You don't have a balance problem, you have a dimension deficiency. Mind, body, spirit, conscious, subconscious, superconscious, id, ego, superego, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. There are many ways to look at this. We're going to get busy and get deep. Visual metaphor, the three-wheel drive system. Immerse yourself. Close your eyes if it makes you feel better and imagine this. You're driving a car that needs three wheels to move, each representing self, spirit, and system. If even one wheel stops spinning, the vehicle, it veers off course, starts to wobble. The suspension warps, the engine burns out trying to compensate. You're not out of gas. You're dragging your system across broken terrain, praying it feels like forward. Trinity isn't luxury, it's how you move aligned, efficient, and whole. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me 1 second. I apologize for that disruption. Are you wobbling on a three-wheeled car with one leg? Imagine a stool, right? You ever sit on a broken stool or a stool that has like one leg shorter than the other three? And you're like wobbling. It's not stable. Yeah. Mind, body, spirit, huh? Let me give you my personal perspective. I want to talk about what I believe I've learned, what I know I've learned. And this is the day I realized my Trinity had to learn to trust itself. Now, what's always been interesting to me about this topic is how we all love to acknowledge the idea of being mind, body, and spirit. But almost none of us live like it's real. We speak in unity and harmony and synchronicity, but we live in fragments. So here's what I've come to realize through my evolution and daily pursuit of harmony. Mind, body, spirit. They're not just parts of me. They are dimensions that have to be trained separately first so they can operate interoperably later. Every day, whether we know it or not, I had to learn this. It blew my mind. Our minds ruminate through 60,000 plus thoughts, many we don't even choose. Our bodies move or stay still. Both are choices with consequences. Our spirits reach either towards expansion or into self-imprisonment. So when I started waking up, like really waking up, I noticed something. My grind was strong. I was getting busy, always getting busy. You know, I always acknowledge that. Even when I was making $4 an hour. My will was real, but the lanes weren't synced. And that just made everything harder than it has to be. And what changed everything was when I began treating each lane with distinct authority. You understand? I trained my body with intention so my mind and spirit could trust it to carry the load. I rooted my spirit so deeply in God and Source that my mind and body could follow its pull without doubt. I optimized my mental flow so when spirit cast vision and body needed to perform, the system executed without error. And then when I essentially stopped siloing them, right? They're in their own lanes, but not siloed. So each lane, its own domain, is present and gets its own dominion. I stopped making my mind carry my body's laziness. I stopped making my body overcompensate for my spiritual misalignment. I stopped asking my spirit to save me when I hadn't given it room to breathe. So now, especially because of how I learned consciousness, it's trust-based movement. And I can rotate lanes as needed. I can identify. I let my mind lead while my spirit and body follows. I let the spirit speak while the system runs silently. I let the body dominate while mind and soul observe and recalibrate. There's no interfighting. They're not jockeying for position, fighting for space. They're moving in formation. Voltron. You see, I used to think balance was about making time for each. Now I know it's about making systems for each and letting those systems serve a unified Trinity directive. And here's the truth about internal power. It doesn't come from living in one dimension. It comes from training all three to move like one, but think for themselves. I love this thought process. 409, where you at? I hope my mic is shooting red here. I hope I'm not over inundating you with voice power. But I want to get into this understanding. Relationships in life. This is one of my, I don't want to say pet peeves, but I had to learn this. And I always use my wife and I as an easy example. When two people come together, we like to socially throw this trendy, I don't know if it's trendy or just more cultural at this point. We are one. My wife and I, any relationship I'm in, we're not one. She is her, I am me. And it must stay that way. We come together and we harmonize. Yes, we form Voltron. But the beauty of what I've learned is that when you stay one, when each of you stay one, you become three. 1 + 1 = 3. When you try to blend and become one, you dilute yourself because you're trying to figure out what she wants. She's trying to figure out what I want. And then I'm trying to move into oneness with him or her and him to almost accommodate my spirit and my mind and my being and my essence to fit into them. No. We create and harmonize a relationship based on who she is all the way and who I am all the way. There's no 50-50. It's 100 and 100. She gives all of herself. I give all of myself. That's the way I learn relationships work. And then consciously, when she's all of her and is not trying to think about what I might want for the sake of what I might desire in order to keep me balanced, just keep herself balanced. I just need her to be her. She just needs me to be me. So she has her conscious, I have my conscious, and then together we form. There's math on this. This is how consciousness works. When she's all of her and I'm all of me and we have our consciousness, then we create a consciousness of togetherness that is still her and me. So in that way, 1 + 1 = 3. In that she's thinking about her and herself, I'm thinking about me and myself, and then she's thinking about the relationship of us together, and I'm thinking about us together. That's the third consciousness. So in that way, mind, body, and spirit, they swim in their own lanes. They don't need to overlap or interlock in a way that I have to submit to one or the other. No, when it's time for me to be physical, my physical takes over. My spirit and my mind trust it. When it's time to be spirited, when it's time to try and innovate and be strategic and root into God and pray, my mind and my body follow. They don't dilute. They sort of if we talk about interoperability, if you want to move them into one lane, that's fine, but each lines up behind the other. When it's time for me to start thinking and do the deep work, my mind moves in front. When I'm reading, when I'm thinking, when I'm processing, when I'm trying to learn, my spirit, my body follow. And in that way, when I give each of it its own lanes, and I give each of it its own time, and each of it its own focus, then I fully optimize it. And I fully indulge. The body wants to be indulged in. The body, and maybe that's a little bit of ego, but the body wants to be worked on. So I give it the work. And then it can relieve itself from the frustration of not having work. You stay still long enough, you don't realize why you're frustrated because your body wants to move. You're dragging your feet, walking with your head down everywhere, wondering why life is as difficult. You don't move. Or if you overcompensate in one area, you're all in on the mind, you forget the spirit and the body. It drags the mind back. The spirit, the spirit is will. It's not just God and root and source. It's your creative image. I give my spirit the time it needs to be spirited. And then my mind and my body are salivating, waiting behind it. Ooh, I see you. I see you. I see you. I know what you want. And then when I release my mind, boom, it releases towards what my spirit wants. And my spirit can trust my mind to go do what it needs to do. So I get the information. I practice. You might think this is narcissistic. I talk about watching myself constantly. Sometimes I watch myself and I replay the video, not to judge, to listen. You know why? I absorb myself in consciousness. I remind myself of how I feel, the spirit I feel when I'm here on the mic. And it keeps me inspired and motivated to fight through the pressure, to fight through the pain, to fight through the 1 or 2 likes. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Because it's deeper and bigger. And then sometimes I watch and I critique. Why? I got to learn. I can't come on here and be the same every day. That's madness. Why would you come see me if I'm trying to help you, help me, and help me help you, and I'm the same I've been, and clearly I can get better? Like, come on now. There's no ego there. So sometimes I take notes. I pay attention. I'm serving my mind. I might watch videos on how to articulate my thoughts better, how to enunciate better, how to deliver better, how to speak better. You understand what I'm trying to say? And in that way, my spirit and my body are just salivating. Yeah, I see you. And in that way, I think we're going to talk about this as we keep going. Even though they're in their own swim lanes, they're all driving towards the same apex priority. That's why we talk about our root: God, faith, honor, loyalty. When I'm swimming with my body, God, faith, honor, loyalty. When I'm swimming in my spirit lane, God, faith, honor, loyalty. Same thing with my mind. And then I bring that in every relationship I go. When I work on myself, when I'm cliche Jeff, and I'm working on my entrepreneurial movement, and I'm trying to blow up the channel, I swim in that lane with mind, body, and spirit fully optimized. I log out here, it's like I clock out. I clock in as father, as Jeff the father. I hate saying Father Jeff. Mind, body, spirit, God, faith, honor, loyalty. It's the same principles. That's why there's less stress. I don't have to think about who I need to be. When I go work out, I put my body in front. When I'm going to be husband, I put my spirit and my love and my emotions up front. I can play my role seamlessly because I give everybody and every lane its own prioritization. And it's all moving in the same direction. I don't deviate. Yes, there's emotional friction. Yes, there's stress and overwhelm, but it's more from just the constant work. Yes, yesterday at the dinner table, the Rodriguez household was flipping out. It happens. And I can almost predict it. You have a bunch of really good days, and then you have a little flip out. You have a little crash out. Everybody crashes out. Everybody gets it off their chest. Why? You're carrying a lot of weight, mind, body, and spirit. Bad days aren't indicative of just, oh, the world is crashing and ending. It's just a bad day. It doesn't have to turn to a bad week, a bad month, and a bad year. When you don't have your mind, body, and spirit aligned, when you're not giving it and treating the vessels and the lanes with authority and conviction, and you're disciplined and dedicated towards building it, you're limiting yourself. Why do we lose our spirit? A lot of it, if you want to go back, reverse engineering, we talk about it. What you see is restricting you. How you move is restricting you, especially if you don't move. That's why one of my first instincts to how you want to change something, wake up early and move your body. Make it physical. Engage yourself physically. Punch a bag. Cry. I don't know, but move. Take the walk. Run. Get into a physical activity. You will get spirited very quickly. Either to keep going or to just quit and go right back into your cave. I'm just saying. Mind, body, spirit. Give it its own lane. Work on each. Let them trust each other. On Voltron. Here's the black book. Ooh, 418 on a Friday. God bless you. The Trinity isn't metaphysical. It is mechanical. This ain't about vibes. It's system logic for triune execution. You'll realize also, if you study the brain, there's a mammalian, reptilian, and then the I believe it's the prefrontal cortex. The brain is also configured in a triune. The Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, as I said earlier, id, ego, super ego. There's if you do any research on how things are typically formed and organized, it's usually in a triune. First entry in the black book, it's mechanical, right? You are not singular. You are stack coded. You are made up of a self, which is mind and body. A spirit, which is belief and obedience. A system, which is routine and environment. These don't exist in hierarchy. They exist in harmony. You also have to understand how you're able to approach life, right? Environmental factors are massively important and significant. That's why your environments, if you're accepting less in your profession, in your relationships, outside of yourself, it's going to return to you and how you treat yourself. I have this movement coming out. I was journaling deeply yesterday on this idea to front like we do not care. And it's not, you don't not care. This is how we create these cultures of quiet quitting and this sort of, it's a delusional detached sort of, and there's a law of detachment philosophy. Because we have such fractured relationships externally, we feel like the external environment's not committing to us. So we reciprocate. We break down, and we call that not caring. Yeah, you don't care. You don't care about yourself. And you're allowing your environment to reinforce it and bring you down and essentially box you in. You're boxing inside of a box, inside of a box. And then you wonder why you're suffocating and you can't breathe. There's no harmony. There's no self-accountability. Your mind and your body and your spirit, one of the three, all of the three are off. Okay. Here's the second entry in our black book. Each dimension regulates a domain. The self regulates perception and personal will. Spirit regulates source and eternal identity. System regulates pattern, behavior, and output. When one stops functioning, the others overcompensate, creating friction or fatigue, especially physically. Sometimes you just need to be physical. And when you can't be physical, your mind and your spirit, you start to overcompensate because you can't carry yourself. Physical for me is the easiest because, especially as a man, if we want to talk about some of the responsibilities of masculinity and the image of man, and we've evolved. I'm not caveman, traditional legacy. Women, I believe we're equal. But a man serves a function. Biologically, we're built differently and in a different way because that's the way that just the image is. Whether it was God, creator, universe, whatever. Men are built different. Women are built different. That's just a reality. Masculinity, especially, I don't want to say especially fathers, but protect the provider. Can you stand in front of your family? And when you can't compensate as a man physically, and that's another thing too, when I speak, I can't speak fully as a woman because I'm not a woman. So I say it with respect. I don't want to disrespect women, right? But as a man, you don't have any pride in your physical appearance of how your family is judged based on how the man looks. You want to be unfuckwithable, don't you? As a man? So physically, I've learned as a man, when I couldn't function, I was overcompensating in other ways. And a lot of times you overcompensate emotionally because you can't withstand the physical pressure of being a man in a family. And it breaks down your relationships with your significant other. It breaks down the relationships with your children in a way that if you are not optimized, if you are not fully optimized as a man or a woman now, we're talking to everybody, then the relationships around you aren't fully optimized. If you're not bringing your highest self to every situation, then the situation you're bringing yourself to is diluted and will regress and is not maximized. How could it be? You're not maximized. So you want a reason to push yourself to the highest limits, then the people you love and the environment you create is weaker without you being your strongest. Is that not logical? When you bring a limited version to the table, you create limited environments. And when you limit yourself physically, when you limit yourself spiritually, in your mind, your environment is limited. You are an environment. You are a vibe. You are a frequency. Drag your feet. Keep dragging your feet. Go ahead. It's your life, not mine. All right. Here's the third entry, the biggest thing I learned that I can't overstress. Trust. Trust is the hidden operating layer of your Trinity. When each dimension isn't trained to function independently, they can't operate interoperably. If your mind doesn't trust your body to execute, it overthinks. If your body doesn't trust your spirit, it resists surrender. Sometimes you got to let go. Let go. Why can't you let go? Your spirit doesn't trust. If your spirit doesn't trust your system, it abandons the process and waits for miracles. Come save me. Yeah. Been generations of people waiting to be saved. This is why even good routines feel off, because the system's running on internal suspicion, not relational synchronization. When your Trinity starts trusting itself, you stop leaking energy. You stop second guessing. You stop asking God for what you already contain. Some of us are begging God for the strength and the power and The miracle. You already are the miracle. You are built in the image of creation. Why are you asking for more when you already have enough, wondering why you're not getting anything more than what you see? Because you haven't released, surrendered, and accepted the miracle and the blessing of you already. I said it yesterday. The breath, you overlook your breath. You overlook that you woke up today. You can't get up. You can't move. But you want to ask for more. You want to receive abundance. That's cool. Go get it. I say it all the time. God bless you. You know what's stopping you? You're not grateful. When I came to this realization, I got to practice gratitude. Why do I have to practice gratitude? Because I forgot what it meant to be grateful. It's not your fault. It's just culturally, socially. That's how we're built today. God has given us creator, root, source, the architect of life. The world has given us so much, we've forgotten what to be grateful for. You know how I know? Because if your mind, body, and spirit are optimized, you have full control and dominion over yourself. You're not all the way great in every area. Why? You're ungrateful. If you are dragging your feet through life, you are ungrateful. How dare you? How dare you wake up with breath and keep asking God for more, or keep asking God to help you and save you from what? You don't have the tools? You don't believe in yourself enough? You don't believe in your mind, body, and spirit? That's not a coincidence. Where's your will? You don't have any willpower. You don't have any will to have fortitude. You want abundance. Start being grateful for what you got. Watch how much more grateful you become. Here's the fourth entry in the Black Book. Friction happens when dimensions are desynchronized. Example, you're productive but empty. That is system without spirit. You're spiritual but stagnant. That's spirit without system. You're healthy but chaotic. That's self without structure. Ooh. The Trinity isn't about balance. It's about alignment in motion. Form, Voltron, and go. Everything has a lane. Everything is always moving. Even when you stay still, the body is moving. That's another reason you're not even grateful for your health. That's why you can't push your body into more stressful situations to keep it healthy. You haven't got your blood work done in forever. You don't even know what your liver's doing, what your heart is doing, what your cells are saying to you. Because you just see your body. You don't see your body. Until one day, something happens in the body. And all of a sudden, all the problems you think you have, you think you got problems, let something stop working. You haven't seen enough movies, read enough books, and seen enough stories? Why do we have to wait for tragedy to hit? That is a lot of the reason why I try so hard to speak about what I believe has happened to me that is tragic. Nobody cares about my story. Nobody cares about how hard it is. As soon as I tell you how hard it is, oh man, oh my God, that was so cute. And then it don't matter. I'm here regardless. Why do you need tragedy? Why do you have to have something really bad happen to you for you to finally move? You're not grateful. You keep waiting for a sign. You keep waiting to be saved. You don't even know what's really going on with you. The fifth entry, Trinity congruence creates scalable identity. This is big, all right? When all three move together in harmony, unity, synchronicity, habits stick, decisions get clearer, vision becomes actionable, energy stays consistent. You don't just feel better, you become undeniable. There are consequences, but I can't stress enough. The harmony you seek but what you see has to start within you. If you aren't all the way together and all the way lit about who you are and who you are being, and you don't pick your feet up, Lord have mercy. Lift your head up. Have some pride. You watch. When you decide on an apex priority, this is what I'm going to do, this is who I'm going to be, this is who I'm becoming because this is who I am. Everything flows and your energy is on 1,000. Why would you have energy to do what you don't feel like doing? Why would you have the energy to keep living how you're living if you're not feeling blessed? If you don't wake up talking about, thank you, God, I'm alive today, why would you want to wake up? That's why you snooze. That is, it's not just a button and an extra 10 minutes, 9 minutes. You're snoozing on your life. There are consequences. There are consequences. Who's with us at 4:32 on a Friday? Getting ready to party tonight? Huh? So you can sleep in on Saturday after a long week of being ununified? If you don't move in all three dimensions, you'll keep self-optimizing while spiritually starving. Damn. You'll systemize avoidance and call it discipline. You'll spiritualize delays and call them downloads. You'll burn out, not from overworking, but from under-alignment. And there is a worst of all. The worst of all is this. You'll master one lane of your identity and wonder why your life still feels incomplete. Ooh. But I'm doing so good at work. The 40 hours I put in a week turn to 60 and 80 because that's the only place I feel complete. We're going to talk about how to take ownership. Understand the consequences. When you are limited, it's because you are limiting yourself. Sure, we're finite, but we have access to the infinite. You don't got to believe me. Just take a look. You're still dragging your feet. Here's how to take ownership. Audit your daily dimensionality. Where are you most active? Ask yourself that. Is it self? Is it spirit? Is it system? Where are you neglecting movement? Audit that. Then you want to create one Trinity move today. Pick one intentional act per dimension. That's 3 total movements. For yourself, move your body. For your spirit, connect to source. For your system, optimize one recurring pattern. Stop hitting the snooze. 3, stack them into a non-negotiable loop. Morning or evening, it doesn't matter. But lock in the loop. Because if you don't schedule your Trinity, your dysfunction will. You know, ask yourself, why am I so dysfunctional? Because you've looped yourself into dysfunction. It's not coincidence. My beautiful people, you did this to yourself. It's time for our phone tap. In our ARR, Banca Bodega certified. Y'all wondering what the banca is yet? I ain't ready for that yet. You know what we do here. You got the call. Now move like it's recorded. Audit, then remix, then re-record. Start with an audit. Where are you most overdeveloped and undernourished? For example, you've mastered systemized output, but your spirit's on empty, and you haven't moved your body in 3 days, 7 days, 3 months, 3 years. That's not success. That's system idolatry. Stop dragging your feet. Remix. Interrupt the imbalance. Feed what you've been starving. For example, before your next work sprint, pray. After your prayer, stretch. Before the stretch ends, script your system. Stack the loop. Then you want to re-record. Re-record your operating rhythm by creating one Trinity checkpoint daily. For example, randomly, at 6 p.m., ask yourself, did I move in self? Did I move in spirit? Did I move in system? If not, don't call the day done. Just call it incomplete. And then get ready to get busy. Have I asked you yet? Are you still dragging your feet through your life? You were never designed to live in one lane. That's not alignment. That's amputation. So own the system or burn out trying to carry a life that requires more dimensions than you are using. You either run the system or the system runs you. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.